Welcome to another episode of the brand called You, a video and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Today, I'm privileged to welcome a legend from the world of tennis, a person who India is proud of, Mahesh Bhupathi, to our show. Mahesh, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Mahesh is the first Indian to win a Grand Slam in 1997. He is a 12-time Grand Slam champion. He's one of 8 tennis players to have achieved a Grand Slam in mixed doubles. Between 1995 and 2012, he ruled the world of tennis as one of the best doubles players. He represented India in over 50 Davis Cup matches. Nadal has called him the best ad-court player, and Federer says he's one of the best players of all time. He's the founder of the Mahesh Bhupathi Tennis Academy, and he's an awardee of the Padma Shri. My God, what an amazing set of achievements. So Mahesh, tell me, what would you say are 3 key milestones in your life or your career?
Believe it or not, one of the milestones was definitely for me going to college, using my tennis to get a tennis scholarship, which I wasn't really prepared for, and it kind of came out of the blue when my dad ran into the coach of the University of Mississippi at Junior Wimbledon one year, and things just fell into place. That was definitely a milestone because that 1.5 years in Mississippi was, I think, where I improved the most to be able to kind of turn pro. Then I think winning the first Grand Slam and probably the first time I played for India.
Okay.
Those would be 3 milestones.
Okay. So, let's talk a little bit about your career in tennis.
Yeah.
My first question to you, which I'm sure you've been asked many, many times, is that when a lot of your contemporaries were playing cricket,
Yeah.
why did you select tennis?
Honestly, it wasn't a selection process for me. My dad, my whole family has been a tennis loving family. My dad attempted, and he reached a pretty high standard of tennis himself in the India ecosystem, when Ramanathan and Jaideep and were all top. He was, ranked 6 or 7 in India. Unfortunately, he had a car accident and broke his hand. And, that kind of put his tennis dreams to rest. So I think he always had it at the back of his mind that his firstborn was going to be a tennis player regardless. Okay. So, when you have that kind of passion at the back, it's never a selection process.
Fantastic. So tell me now, you've played at the highest level, and with the best in the world. How do you prepare yourself before a match, physically and mentally?
So physically, I think, it's a routine that you get into, which is, it's a culmination of years of hard work that goes into previously to get to the stage that you have been when you're playing, high level tennis. When you're playing matches, then it's just about preparation. It's just about recovery. Mentally, I think that's where the game is won and lost a lot of times. I think that's why the greats, kind of, differentiate themselves from the good players. And even today, a Roger or a Novak or a Rafa, I mean, these guys are the ones who can go that extra mile under pressure and, hit that big shot under pressure, which I think makes the difference.
That's where I guess mental strength comes in.
Yes, absolutely. I mean,
and what is the difference? You played singles and you played doubles. What is the difference in the preparation between a singles match and a doubles match?
I think singles is, you're alone on the court. So, you have to have a couple of game plans to fall back on if things don't go well. Obviously, a lot more physically demanding. So, a lot more training required to be able to kind of endure that day in and day out. Doubles is a team event. You can always fall back on your partner. You can discuss strategies which you can't in singles and solutions. In doubles, even if you're having 20 minutes of a bad time, like you're not able to make any balls, and most of the time your partner can keep you in the match. In singles, you don't have that margin of error.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. And, I've spoken to so many people at your level of sports, and, you're constantly on a flight. You're on a flight, you go and play, you get into a flight and you play. What enables you? I mean, I've traveled extensively in the corporate world and I was in a permanent state of fatigue. How do you manage to be able to get into the mode of playing at the topmost level, traveling, playing again?
I think, it's a lot about being able to do what you love doing. I think that's what comes down to it. I think flying became part and parcel of the routine, part and parcel of life for us. It became a big change for me once I retired to deal with the fact of staying home for a long time. But yeah, for us, we were able to fly in on a red eye, sleep till lunch, have a snack, and even compete at times at a 4 o'clock match if we had to. So that's the way I think professional sportsmen in general have been tuned and trained to do.
In fact, I believe that's also a factor of the amount of incredible physical conditioning that you're in, where you're able to sleep at any time.
Yeah, I think being able to sleep at any time, being able to get rid of jet lag, and in some cases, you start preparing 2 days before. If you're going to the US, you try and eat at the American times before even getting on the flight. I think a lot of that goes into preparation as well.
Okay. And it's often been said that it is easy to get on top. It's very difficult to stay there. You have been at the top for over 2 decades. What did you do differently, or is it just great games that you played?
Yeah, getting to the top is super hard. But like you said, once you are the hunter and then you are the hunted, it's a big difference. People start watching you closely, people start studying your games, so you got to continuously evolve, you got to put in the extra work, you got to put in the extra time on dissecting ways you can beat the same top opponents time and time again. Because like you guys have seen recently, Novak and Roger played each other 40 times. Roger and Rafa played each other 40 times. So you keep playing the best at that level, and you know you can only stay on the top if you can continuously and consistently beat them.
And let me ask you one more question on the cities and countries that you've played in and the crowds. Which would you say are the four open matches? Which is your favorite? And what do you say about the crowds in different places?
It's tough to pick favorites, obviously, when it comes to Grand Slams. But if I had to pick one, we love playing in Australia. It's just a great sporting culture. I think crowds-wise, we always had a large Indian support in both London and New York. But you know, Wimbledon is prim and proper. So the US Open crowd would really get rowdy and get behind us and get vocal. So I think we definitely enjoyed playing at the US Open a lot, especially on Labor Day weekends.
Okay. And you've played with several partners, Mahesh. I wanted to understand what factors lead to a change of partners.
I think it depends on the results mainly. Results, compatibility. I think enjoying enjoying playing with each other. I mean, there've been numerous examples even this year. For example, you have Bruno Soares and Mate Pavic, who won the US Open 3 months ago, finished number one in the world, and now they've split for 2021. So it just depends on comfort level, I guess, at some level, because you got to spend the whole year with them.
And you and Leander have had an amazing relationship and an amazing partnership. Would you like to talk about that also?
Yeah, I think both of us were, we had a tremendous amount of success. We had, it was a very proud phase for us when we were able to represent India in Davis Cup at the Grand Slams. Reach number one in the world in a white man's sport. Be able to create all those records. I think some of which, unfortunately, will probably never be broken. I mean, Davis Cup, we've got the most winning record of all time. So yeah, I mean, we complemented each other perfectly, and I think we were the one of the perfect doubles teams, so to call it. If you want to include the Woodies and the Bryans, my weaknesses he made up for, his weaknesses I made up for. So it was definitely an amazing story.
Correct. And from an Indian perspective, I think after Amritraj, you were probably the next who virtually stepped into that mantle.
Yeah, I think we brought a lot of popularity to tennis, because even the media was kind of starting to pick up at that time compared to, I think, the 80s, and that I think helped a lot.
Fantastic. So Mahesh, let's move to the second part of our conversation, which is on the Mahesh Bhupathi Tennis Academy, where you've trained over 8,000 children and you're coaching across 20 cities. Tell me a little bit about this venture.
Well, I think when we started close to 12 years ago, the main thought process was to just put tennis rackets in as many kids' hands as possible. You
Mhm.
know, unfortunately, we don't have a system of creating tennis players in our country. And the way it works in any successful tennis nation is, you know, they've got districts, they've got states, they've got national programs, which kind of is the reason you have US and Spain and France always having 10 players in the top 100. So I think that was a goal. I mean, you put enough rackets in kids' hands, and
Mhm.
eventually, you know, someone looks at it as a profession, starts taking it seriously, and that's the way to kind of hopefully build the base.
Mhm. And you mentioned that your dad was a top tennis player and he encouraged you to play, but you understand the Indian mindset. I remember, and I'm much older than you, but when we were growing up, we were always told study and get a job. And I don't think that has changed very much in large parts of India. How, in your opinion, are parents beginning to change to encourage their children to take tennis as a career?
I think it's a mindset not only for tennis and sport in general. I mean, but it's changing slowly. I mean, you know, today cricket is a lucrative profession. I mean, you know, you have success like a Sindhu or a Saina, Deepa. I mean, you know, you have opportunity to monetize. And I think a lot of schools are open to giving subsidies to kids with talent now, as in, you know, go play, come back and do your exams. As long as, you know, you're passing your exams, they'll support. I think, you know, earlier on, a lot of the schools were draconian, not giving you the time to go and play tournaments and participate. I think a lot more schools are open to it now because I think, you know, when kids play for the country and the school is also proud that, you know, one of theirs is out there representing India.
Hmm. And you mentioned just now that your objective initially was to put tennis rackets into the hands of children. What will it take to produce champions from India? I mean, every time I see some people from the East European countries, I mean, it's like almost like a factory of players coming out. What will it take to do the same thing in India?
I think it's you know we need to bring in the right coaching talent, which I think is one of the reasons we kind of fall behind in India.
Mhm.
Coaching talent and the fitness talent. I mean, building the fitness base for kids at a very young age. I mean, tennis is such a physical sport now, and it's getting more and more physical every year. So building that physical base for kids between 8 and 12, so that they're able to kind of become athletes like a Serena or a Rafa or whoever. That's not we don't have that in our country, which I think is a problem.
And what will it take to get that?
We'll have to have someone fund, you know, these kind of experts to come to India and, you know, build a program of kids around them.
And we have the infrastructure available, or we need infrastructure.
Yeah, infrastructure has never been a problem. I mean, you need a tennis court, a gym, and track to run. So
Okay.
that's available in plenty in our country.
Okay. And one more question on MBTA. This is the age of the millennials and the Gen Zs. And they are taking up to sport much more because their parents are in a better financial position than my parents may have been. What, in your view, is the change that's taking place with the new generation of children?
Yeah, I think they're just more open to experimenting, right? And you know, there's so much access to different kinds of screens today. So I think the new generation are seeing success in so many different avenues in life, and all kinds of success brings popularity, and everyone wants to be popular. So I think that's why they're willing to experiment and, you know, explore new horizons, which is I think is great.
Okay. So, let's talk a little bit about the International Premier Tennis League that you founded in 2013. Talk to me a little bit about this league.
Well, it was a brave idea. I
Mhm.
think you know, unlike the cricket league, I don't think because of the how expensive it is to run tennis, it was not going to be viable to do it in one country. So we kind of found teams across Asia.
Mhm.
I think, you know, the exciting part about it was we were able to bring Roger, Rafa, Novak all to play in India. But, you know, unfortunately, you know, some other countries we were not able to kind of sustain it, and that's why the entire ecosystem kind of fell. The most successful franchise, of course, without a doubt, was the Indian franchise for all 3 seasons,
Mhm.
because I think because of the success of the IPL and all the other leagues that have blossomed around it, I think people got the model here. It was a first in countries like Singapore and Philippines. So maybe a little before its time, probably.
Okay. And a follow-up question to that, tennis is a very, very major spectator sport. And given the fact that we now have the pandemic with almost no spectators in stadia, what is that going to do to tennis?
Well, I mean, the jury was out on that, but clearly, they're moving on, and
Okay.
I think tennis. I think athletes just want to compete because that's what the bread and butter depends on as well. And tennis is a spectator sport, but no less than soccer. And we've been seeing the Premier League, we've been seeing the U.S. Open in tennis and the French Open. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it's great for the top players because they always used to getting that extra edge from the crowd when the pressure's on.
Yeah.
But I think they're still very appreciative that everyone's making an effort to get back on court.
Okay. So, Mahesh, I've got time for a few more questions, and these are going
Yeah.
to be some personal questions for you.
Okay.
So much success, so much recognition, and continuing to do so many different things. What does success mean to Mahesh?
For me, I mean, see, look, it was one phase of my life, I think, which I'm very thankful for, and tennis is and will always be my first love. Even today, I look at the tennis results on a daily basis. I'm in touch with every single Indian player because not only they're my friends, but I like to kind of follow their progress. But it was a phase which I'm not involved in tennis at all anymore, and obviously we've got a few business ventures that we're working on, and because of my success in tennis, I've been able to do what I am doing today. A lot of credibility comes with that, a lot of trust comes with that, and obviously from my perspective, I've succeeded once, and I want to continue to succeed. So there's a lot of learnings that I try to bring here, and there are a lot of things I don't know that I try to learn now. So I think it'll be an interesting phase. I think the next 7 to 10 years for me.
Fantastic. And a follow-up question to that is, playing at such a high level, continuing to do some new things, and now changing careers almost completely. Where do you keep drawing your inspiration from?
I mean, I'm just kind of see. I've had a lot of friends that play tennis with me, and they also went to college and they took the corporate route. Today, they're extremely successful. Some have publicly listed companies, some run multi-billion-dollar hedge funds. But I think tennis gave them that opportunity to do that as well because sport. Competing in sport teaches you a lot: how to win, how to lose, how to deal with disappointment, how to bounce back, and I believe that all those things will continue to give me lessons and ways forward.
Interesting. So I was just going to ask you that as the next question. I have a new book coming out on failure, and I've often said that parents in India don't teach children it's okay to fail.
Yeah.
My question to you is that what has been your biggest learning from some of your biggest mistakes?
So I've made a lot of mistakes, and my learning is you got to rectify them. I mean, you got to understand, you got to learn from them. I mean, I'm constantly learning, especially in the corporate world. I mean, today I'm involved in an FMCG business. I mean, I ran this tennis league. I did not know the full form of FMCG, but today, we're running 3 brands that are in modern retail, in pharmacies, in general trade, and so for me, it's like a 24-hour job. Yeah, I also don't understand a lot of the parents mindset. I have a 8-year-old daughter who runs in the sports day every year, and a lot of parents say it's so great that they're competing, and that doesn't register with me. So unless I got to a certain stage in my career where I left the runner-up trophies in the hotel room before I left. If I didn't win, then I wasn't interested in getting any runner-up trophies home because I already had enough of those.
Okay, fair enough. And my last question to you, Mahesh, thousands of people are going to listen to you and watch you speaking. My question to you is, what would your advice be to a young individual starting off on their journey in tennis?
So I think there has to be direction. There has to be. See, I'm not going to give you the cliche one, say hard work, right? I mean,
Correct.
nothing in life is nothing in life, be it tennis or being first in class, is going to be achieved without a tremendous amount of hard work and
Mhm.
sacrifice. Trying to take. I'm trying to put my little one in class in tennis, right? And she plays 30, 40 minutes 3 times a week, and so do another 100 kids in the same academy. So I said, what is different? You're not going to make it because you're my daughter,
Hmm.
right? So unless you do another 30, 40 minutes above them, you're not going to
Hmm.
be better than them.
Correct.
So it's just about going that extra mile, making sure you have direction, you have vision, and nothing is impossible. That's for sure. I can say. I mean, my dream. My dad took me to Wimbledon in 1987 for the
Mhm.
first time, right? For
Mhm.
me, it was a dream to play there one day. Forget about winning titles there.
Mhm.
So nothing is impossible as long as you kind of work towards that, in a relentless fashion.
Correct. Mahesh, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you for
Thank you.
the incredible answers, and I wish you lots of success in your corporate career now.
Thank you. Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you again. Bye bye. Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.